This lamb is juicy on the outside, crispy on the inside, moist on the inside, you name it. This is part 2 of my leg of lamb. Part 1 is already uploaded, and that part I show you how to season it. Welcome to my YouTube channel, whether you are new or returning. So for this leg of lamb recipe, this recipe is it. We had this for our Eid al-Adha holiday. That was about a week ago, and it was absolutely incredible. As always, everything is going to be listed in the description below, and let's get right into it. So what I started off with was smoking. So I got the charcoal, and you're going to see it inserted below on the side, Crispo Cocoa Syro. I heated it on the stove, and then when that was done, I added it in aluminum foil. Do not touch it. It is very hot. The purpose of me doing this is because I wanted a smoky touch to the lamb, but in hindsight, what I would do differently is do this at the end. I did achieve that smoky flavor, but it was quickly cleared from all of the baking. So when that's done, I added it into the aluminum foil. I'm going to stack my rack on top. How you smoke it is you add oil. You can use any kind of oil. I personally used avocado oil, but any kind of oil will be fine. So I'm just unwrapping it. This is about 2 days or maybe 1.5 days of seasoning this leg of lamb. This is about, I think, 10 to 13 pounds. This was a huge lamb. I mean, it was laborious. So here I am adding the oil. It will immediately start to smoke. Once it starts smoking, what you want to do is cover it up. That allows the smoke to really get inside whatever it is you are trying to smoke. So what I did was just wrapped it up with aluminum foil so everything can like come together really well. And in a couple minutes, I am going to take it off. Because it's closed, I didn't know when the smoke was done. So I just kind of like gauge how long I knew it was going to be done for. Within 3 minutes, all the smoke should be done. And I lifted up and you could see like it finishing up. And when that was done, I took the foil off. This gave the lamb an incredible flavor, but I would suggest you do this at the end. When this is done baking, do this at the end. It is going to be worth it. When that was done, I took it out. I stacked my leg of lamb on my wrap, and then the next step is kind of like prepping it to bake. I took a parchment paper, I lined it up in my big aluminum pan, and I added onion, bell pepper, cabbage. I had a lot of leftovers in my fridge, and I was just kind of like clearing it up, and that's what I did. I know some people will add broccoli, carrots. I didn't have any of those, so I just added it in there. I lightly seasoned it. It wasn't necessary for me to season this because the leg of lamb was already well seasoned. Added a little bit of oil, and I did add water to this, about a large mason glass. You're going to see me pour that later. Now that water is to allow the leg of lamb to steam. This was a huge cut. I mean, this was a big risk. This was a really, really huge cut, and you really want it to cook well. So I added that large cup of water into that base. Wrap it up thoroughly, wrap it up with my aluminum foil, and then you are going to now let it bake. If you are making leg of lamb, yours may not take as long as mine because it all depends on the weight of your leg of lamb, right? If you're using a small leg of lamb, it's not going to take as long. This took me about 7.5 hours to bake. I put in the oven at exactly 5:18 p.m. and this was done about 12:30 in the morning. I did not think it would take so long. I did have a lot of delays, after returning home, getting it started earlier. So that's how long this took me to do. If you are using a smaller leg of lamb, it may take like 3 to 4 hours. I know that's about the average cooking of those who are using a smaller piece. So next time I am going to make sure I don't ask for the largest piece just to make it easier. I think 7-8 hours is just such a long time to be cooking something. And when that was done, I threw it in the oven and I just started prepping my salad. This was like really simple, but I just wanted to make it look a little luxurious because this was like for the holiday. What I did was I grabbed my lettuce, I spread it around, and I am just going to garnish it. I did eggs, raisin, cucumbers, tomatoes, French fries. French fries and salad or bread is kind of like the typical way you will see Francophone West Africans make their salad. The bread, especially the bread and potatoes or French fries, that is very, very common. Now, whatever it is that you do not like, you do not have to add. You can add whatever it is that you like. I know I would see some people add shredded carrots in theirs. I even at one point wanted to add some pecans in there, but it wasn't necessary because like it was so full. And this is kind of like what our salad is looking like. I wanted it to look decorative and really pretty on the table. So that is why like I really stacked it up and filled it up. I believe after 1 to 2 hours of letting this lamb bake, I went to check in on it, right? So I uncovered everything and I started kind of like basting it with the broth that it produced from the baking. What I noticed was like the surrounding area of the lamb, was baking. It was a little moist, but the center area was extremely tough. Like those area right there where you see me adding the knife, there was so much, that's like the more beefy areas of the leg of lamb, and the fork did not penetrate those areas very easily. There was a little bit of resistance. So I basted and then covered it up, send it back in there to boil again, and I'm just kind of like demonstrating what it looked like. It was extremely tough. Like even if I peel it off, you see like how like it is on a pinker side. So I covered it up and I let it bake. And this did require a lot of baking time because this was a huge cut of leg of lamb. I'm never going to get a cut this big again. And this is just like a little zoomed in. I think this was about the 4-hour mark. It was starting to soften up a little bit, but still a little tough. Like you can see, like as I'm pulling it, there is a little bit of resistance, right? Now, at some point in the baking, I flipped it around because I was really impatient. Like it was really late and I was like, why isn't this baking the way that I want it to? But if you are using such a large cut, you are going to have to be patient. So when I flipped it around, basted it in the broth, I covered it up and let it finish off. Luckily, once we got to this point, we were in like the last hour to 45 minutes of this. I sent it in there, and then at this point, it was done. Had I let it cook longer, it was going to fall apart, and that's not what I was looking for. I did want it a little crispy, moist, but not completely falling apart. This was the end. This was extremely laborious, time consuming. I mean, it took a really long time. Next time I am going to get a smaller cut. So now that you're seeing me poke it all throughout the beefy areas earlier, it's much more tender after 7 hours of baking. And this was just the broth after it was finished. When I was done, I added that into like a bowl and we're going to use it for something else. I did want it a little colorful, so I grabbed my green seasoning. I added a little bit of water just to baste it for like color and a little bit of touch. It looks dry, but I promise it's not as dry as it looks. Once I pull it apart, you will see that it was like moist, just crispy on the outside and moist on the inside. That's exactly what I wanted. Sprinkle a little bit of the broth that it cooked in, and it looked something like this leg of lamb was truly a labor of love. The next time I am going to get a smaller piece, it's not going to take as long. And once this was done, I added it on top of my salad. Now it's just time to garnish the salad. I added the sauce into the egg white. I just wanted to be fancy. And then later on, I just grabbed like little small containers to put the sauce in and then put it around the salad. But overall, here is the final results. Here's what it looked like. It was well enjoyed, crispy on the outside, moist on the inside. That's exactly what I was looking for. This was a learning lesson, I would say. And that's the best part about cooking. You make mistakes or you do something one way, you're like, next time this is what I would do. In the areas when I was seasoning, in the areas where I stuffed the most, you can see that is the area where it's like really moist. When I stuck my finger in there, I pulled out an onion and it was like so great. And here it is, crispy on the outside and just extremely moist. This is it. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope if you give it a try, I hope you like it. Please let me know where you are watching from. If you already made this, let me know how you liked it. Let me know what you did differently. And until our next recipe, thank you for tuning in.